You allow Asterion and yourself a day off for work on his project. So if I recall, you wanted to help decipher your Minoan language and share with the world. Asterion shifts left and right, and his tail and ears follow along. Yes, that would mean a lot to me. I use the internet to look it up, and the Minoan language has been lost to time. But the fragments of Catan writing still exist in clay and stone tablets, ceramics, and decorations found in Greece and Turkey. Archaeologists and linguistics have classified their findings into 3 distinct writing systems. The oldest one is what they call Catan hieroglyphs. Sadly, I'm not too familiar with this writing system. I recognize some with the symbols, but I never learned to actually read them. There were 2 systems after that, which they call Linear A and Linear B. The latter is partially decoded, but it is too recent for me. I was not taught how to read it. What they call Linear A, that is the one I can read and translate. I looked up the images of the partially preserved tablets, and I can read them with a little effort. Really? What kind of stuff is written on them? The ones I find mostly kept business records, although I've seen 1 or 2 with proverbs and poetry fragments. Those really help to jog my memory. But I know not at all where to start with this. How do I share my translations? I have a hard time looking things up on the tablet, let alone writing them down on a text processor and sharing them. Well, I can handle that for you. Maybe while we work on the project, I can teach you a little more about how to use your tablet and phone. I would appreciate that, but please do not worry much about it. I would not want to slow you down. I don't mind. I'll be as patient as I have to. You're doing the world a favor by sharing this knowledge. It's only fair that you learn something along the way too. Thank you. So let's get started, shall we? Asterion nods. He clears his desk and saves the pencil and pad to take notes. First of all, we're going to need access to available writings. That means looking at what museums have which fragments in their collection, and seeing if there's any way to get access to them. We'll also need to contact someone to report your translations too. Perhaps the research team of a university here and there. But we need to do this anonymously, alright? I don't think anyone would accept the explanation that a Minotaur has been alive for thousands of years and just so happens to be fluent in a dead language. Yes, a cover story may be necessary. It would also help to have a hotel make some fragments of our own, if we can do that. To add more verisimilitude to the whole thing, we don't happen to have any lying around, do we? I'd have to check. That would take an afternoon by itself. We have all the time in the world, partner. Asterion gives you a big smile and pulls out his tablet. Of course we do. But we have other matters to attend to as well. So we had better make good use of time we have, yes? How about you sit next to me while I work on the desktop? It'll make things more manageable. Asterion nods. You and Asterion spend the rest of the afternoon exchanging ideas and looking up universities and museums. From time to time, you let Asterion have a go at using the mouse and keyboard. After a few too many instances of typing 3 letters in one stroke, however, he decides that he vastly prefers a tablet over his touchscreen. He prefers his tablet's touchscreen. The minister holds the fruit bowl, overflowing with pomegranates, against his chest. Sorry, that was like terrible. He hums a song, and each step downstairs follows its rhythm. There is a prayer on the tip of his tongue, and many whispers as well. Asterion holds back a smile as he anticipates all he will say to the Lord Hades statue. He crosses threshold upon threshold until he arrives at the garden. The fresh early night breeze coats his shoulders like a mantle laid over a prince's back. But he had his prayers are not alone. The dragon from the east stands a foot away from the Lord Hades statue. He studies the cloth-thin statue of the god's robes, the fine details of the helmet in one hand, and the almost warmth carved into those eyes. A flower is in his hand, an asphodel that, past its prime and shriveled, but it still lingered on. Asterion stops, staring at Coda, as if he was his first time seeing this traveler. And the sky, too, where the star is always so bright. He cradles a fruit bowl and his pomegranate in his arms. He steps closer to catch the dragon's attention. Asterion, hello. Coda, good to see you. If I may, your scales are looking quite striking with the night sky backdrop. You're too kind. I can't recall the last time I've heard a compliment like that. It's true, and the flowers, the whole field of them, suit you just as well. Thank you again. But let's be frank. Only a true monster loathsome of heart, however, its appearance would be out of place there. This garden is so serene. I hadn't given it chance before. The statue and the flowers seemed too solemn at first glance. Almost sorrowful. And the truth, it frightened me. But today I realized something. This is the only place in the hotel where plants grow. Aside from the valley, of course, isn't that so? Correct. This statue, it's quite special. And dearly cherished. I can feel something from it, too. My hearing dulled as it approached it, as though I'd been surrounded by velvet. I can hear my heartbeat, feel it in my fingertips. And the air here, it tightens my chest with how much it reminds me of home. I could just lay here and sleep for a week. I so really want it. But I can't shake it off, that sense of sorrow. Do you feel it too? Asterion kneels by the statue and lays the fruit bowl at its feet. Okay. With a pocket knife, he carves each pomegranate open. No regard for their juice is spilled on the soil and over his hands. I know well the velvet you speak of. It has lulled me to sleep for countless nights right here. This is where I used to sleep for over 2,000 years ago. The creatures of the valley keep away from the statue. I like to believe, I know it, that this Lord Hades gifted to me. For all those years he protected me, building the hotel around him was only natural. The deafness you noticed, the world muffled all over. That's what the underworld sounds like. As for sorrow, no, I feel not a seed of it. The dragon from the east looks up with the god's eyes. Am I interrupting your rite of worship? Not at all. I am cutting a few pomegranates for the Lady Persephone. There's very little need for formality. Nonetheless, the dragon kneels, but not before readjusting his robes. Is that so? I would expect much more of a pomp for the worship of a deity of the dead. Oh, that? It's a long and sordid story. I wouldn't want to burden you with the unsightly details. The Minotaur runs a finger on the tender pink flesh. He collects the full and bursting seeds with his fingers and lays them at the statue's feet. But, if you would allow me, I do have an indelicate question for you, Coda. Go ahead. You are my host, and, if the discomfort is bearable, I won't shy away from answering. Asterion's hands drift from the red so familiar to the denizens of the underworld. Are you a god? Pardon? Are you a god from the east? I've heard tales about eastern pantheons, although not enough to form a picture. Are you a god or equivalent of one? In a sense. But what counts as a god in my homeland is quite different from what I hear about the Greek pantheon. I am, or rather, was the god of a river. One with the cold and gentle waters, which were good for fishing, growing crops, and brewing sake. Quite different from our Lord Hades, or even the Christ, for that matter. Even in my prime, I was only a small and local deity. Nowadays I'm smaller, still, although one would argue I'm no longer a god at all, having lost my river. That's part of why I'm traveling the world. I have no home to go back to. Did something happen? The waters of my home were contaminated by something vile, and I could no longer hold life. I would have died if I stayed. I am sorry for your loss. If this land could sustain a river, blessed with the richness you deserve, I could carve it out of the earth myself so that you may call it a home. That's kind of you. Too kind, in fact. It is appreciated, to be sure. But I cannot accept such grandiose gesture. Reject the gesture you may, but accept my sentiment you must. As would any grateful guest, I shall. I must bother you with one another question. Would you happen to know at all what may have happened to the Greek gods? I am sorry, I'm afraid that I do not. But if you are still fear them, please calm your mind. I can only imagine with no worshippers, they must all be dead now. Or perhaps they are like me, with little, if any, power left to their name. Although I pray neither is that the case for your dear Lord Hades. The Lord of good counsel is an excellent ruler. Beloved by his people, but always distant towards the surface dwellers. He must be fine today, just as much as he used to be. The Minotaur's palms are wet and sticky with the pomegranate juices. He puts the pocket knife in the fruit bowl with discarded husks and cleans his hands with a handkerchief. Her Majesty Persephone will surely smile upon us today and always. Perhaps she may even bless our upcoming celebration. Oh, is there something happening? The Minotaur's eyes flick back and forth along his tail. Yes, an idea Lucian and I had been toying with. A few days ago, he decided to rename our establishment the Minotaur Hotel. He wants to announce it next Monday. We're thinking of doing a little ceremony to go along with it. Can you believe it? The custom has always been use the current master's name, and now he pulls this on me? I should stop him. I should stomp my hoof and say no. It's too far, but... But? Will you make fun of me? Not in a million years. Now stop with that false modesty and just say it. This was a wish of mine. I used to go to bed and imagine it happening, hoping I could live in my dreams. I do not know how to put it in words. All these things happening, you and Luke, and the other guests, the laurel wreath, the things Lucy and I discuss. I feel like a calf all over again. You deserve it. Thank you for all your work in giving us a home. And thank you for being a friend. There's one thing I'd like to discuss with you. Since we have started talking now, but it's been a bit of a sensitive subject. Would you now be a good moment? I have all the time in the world. Good. Last night, did you enjoy the movie? Absolutely. A long time has passed since I had fun like that. With so many friends, I missed it. And the film was superb. You were a wonderful host, and I have fine taste for seventh art. Are you calling me a good host? You continue with the fine compliments. As for company, we are gathering quite a bunch around of us, aren't we? I get the impression this family, if I may call it that, will only grow. Though, while we're on the topic of company, keeping in mind that we just discussed about renaming the hotel, I can't help but notice how, well, you've been getting along with Lucian. It's quite the stark difference from how your attitude just 2 weeks ago. You have more confidence now, seeing you like this brings me a great deal of relief. And I'm sure no other guests are similarly pleased with this development. Oh, thank you. It is quite kind of you to say that. Glad to know I'm making a good impression. Now, my pardon worrying and how indelicate this question is, but how is it when you two are alone? He treats me very well, Coda. His kindness is unlike anything I have ever seen in a master. I was happy when the masters were indifferent towards me. Me, Lucian, though, it is as if my happiness was his as well. And although I often trip and stumble my own emotions, he seems unfazed by it, and it makes me uncomfortable as a result. He treats me well, like no one else has before. His signing of that laurel wreath contract did give me an impression of his selflessness. Contract? Ah, yes, I remember now. For certain that calmed me a great deal too. I see. His goodness goes far beyond the contract then. The Minotaur nods. And how does he make you feel, if you don't mind me asking? I suppose it's not much point into hiding it. The dragon shifts in his grasp. His face remains placid as it turns toward the Minotaur, but his gaze is as sharp as a pocket knife in the fruit bowl. Hiding what? Just that. Sometimes it's all too much for me. I'm sure you've noticed already that I have moods. I can be difficult at times. Whenever it becomes too much, Lucian helps me. I was thinking of that when I talked about his kindness. I ought not to burden you with the details, but he has been... I struggle to say it out loud, but he's been a steadfast friend. I see. Hearing that from you brings me a great deal of relief. Ever since that night, when we stargazed, I've been worrying about this subject, wondering if Lucian is treating you well. Why would you think that? Koda opens his mouth and then bites his lip, and shrinks into himself. Never mind. He looks toward the valley, far and below. The dragon bites a claw for just long enough to gather his thoughts. He's your friend. Yes. Is he your only friend? Is he your only friend? He thinks the dragon's word over and over, chewing on all the remaining and ambiguity they carry. The weight of 1,000 years falls on his back, and for a moment he remembers all the wisdom he had amassed over 100 lifetimes. He knows what the dragon means, but refuses to reveal his mind. I'm afraid I don't follow. The god from the east does not see the youthful glimmer disappearing from Asterian's gaze. He trusts the Minotaur, perhaps too much. I suppose that was too arcane. If it's not much to ask, could you tell me what you liked so much about a Lucian? This is much easier, perhaps too much so. For the bull, he can gush about Lucian. For centuries, I have worked to make this place a home for the lost, even if I was no more than a servant. Lucian is kind and brave. He treats the guests well, and treats me like I'm a good and worthy. He is playful and considerate, too willing to let me have all that I ever dreamt, even that by which right should belong to the master. He reminds me of my oldest and dearest friends from when I still had my freedom. Even if I remain locked in this realm, I feel more liberated than ever. He makes the hotel feel like home, too, and for me. And even my mind, all the unruly thoughts running around, grow quiet and gentle when he's around. The sharpness in Koda's eyes fades, and is replaced with the light of understanding. I feel ownership of myself, over my future and body, my mind and soul, so much that the emotions that had gotten the rise again to greet me. And he does all this with the utmost naturality. He's not even trying to impress me. It's just the truest kindness of his heart. I did struggle with allowing myself to consider him a friend, but I am getting better every day. Good. Change a little bit here and there, as much as your heart desires. Do whatever pleases your soul. You weren't there when he found me, Koda. I was almost a skeleton. Half of my face was gone. I could barely string my thoughts together. Someone else would have ran away. But Lucian didn't. He stayed, and he nursed me back to my health. And on top of all this, I feel like I've met someone who can truly be my partner in achieving the hotel's mission. Partner, mutters the Minotaur, under his breath as a net pang of desire overtakes his innermost thoughts. My mission. Is that enough, or should I go on? I've heard all I need to. If you allow me a moment's preamble, I am old, Asterion. Not as old as I, thought the Minotaur. I've had a great deal of experiences, so I feel compelled to share a bit. In any usual circumstance, I've been comfortable with the idea of becoming close friends with the superior. And you, I'm sure you know all too well of the burden of hierarchy. I believe this to be a valuable rule for the life in general. We must never forget what is proper, and what those boundaries are in place for our own good. In any other circumstance, with the insurmountable power difference being what it is, I would say that one in your position should be wary of such friendships. However, the Minotaur cringes. Are you saying I shouldn't be friends with Lucian? However, for you today, I say otherwise, because sometimes fortune shines on us like a crooked smile. The inflection in the dragon's voice clues Asterion in. A part of him already believes that Coda would rejoice if he only had knew the truth of Asterion's emotions, but the keeper of the hotel, wise and old, refuses to admit it. We would be fools to let go of a chance at happiness only because it's not proper. Your situation is unique, so if Lucian treats you well, and if the chance at happiness presents itself, have no shame and claim it. Pay no heed to whatever anyone might say about what's right and proper. Asterion's fingers dig into the soil. The Minotaur cannot admit to it. He has to, keep the emotions which roil like sickness within him in check. His eyes lock onto the dragon, this glorious friend, brimming with life. He is a fine man, deserving of love in all its forms, while Asterion, a prisoner abandoned by gods, what love can such a wretched deserve? But Coda cannot, must not, no. This yoke the Minotaur must bear, and bear alone, and so he feigns ignorance. Your words are kind, Coda, but I admit I am not quite following. What do you mean by all this? Do you only want me to keep being friend to Lucian? If that would make you happy, if that what makes you happy. You two are precious together. Such great friends you are. I have seldom seen a bond like this. I have always found it precious, this connection men can have with one another. A friendship like this between the two souls linked by circumstances, by choice, and now even by law of contract. Wouldn't you say it's kind of love? The Minotaur's hands grow sweaty. His gaze averts itself in thought of confusion or bashfulness. Or perhaps there is another love at play here. The brotherhood of mankind. The common love we may nurture towards others because of their humanity alone. Tell me, Asterion, what would you say is the kind of love you nurture for him? The Romans, at least, had many words for love, you must know. Asterion licks his lips, but his throat and stomach have grown desert dry. His hands remain stained pink, and under his fur a pinkness comes to his cheeks. The dragon places a hand on the hybrid's shoulders. Don't answer. Whatever the truth may be, I would be happy if you kept my advice in mind. Whatever it is you desire, have no shame in it. When the time comes to take it. The dragon readjusts his robes and dusts his hands. He chuckles softly and mutters in the velvety silence. They say I'm in love. The rumor is ready in circulation. Yet when I began to love, There was not a soul who knew, not even you. A rushing wind blows with a velvety deafness away, along with half a dozen stray flowers. Did you say something? Perhaps it is just a breeze. Thank you for your time, Asterion. Asterion is left behind, cringing like one of those shameful nakedness has been brought to light. Incomplete thoughts, stray words, sentences he cannot will himself to finish. For the rest of the night, he chews on it all, still silent but never somber. After dinner, he sits by the hotel's entrance. Shame turns into delight when a certain man comes to stargaze with him. That night, the Minotaur dreams of a vast banquet, of eating to one's limit, and then lazily resting one's bones. But the persisting question cannot be forgotten. Still, he can try to distract himself, a skill of which a mortal hybrid has become master. There is always some favor to ask in his infinite hotel, more to do than ever been time for hands for. Some tasks more pressing than others, and some sweeter, but kept for when one can enjoy the moment. The Minotaur's hooves stir, his legs ache in anticipation of stretching, his eyes hunger for beauty and dear memories. He knows what he needs to do. He knows what he wants to do. The Minotaur thinks over and rehearses his words. Would you join me today in an exceptional task? But that says nothing. It is impolite to ask an unknown thing to someone, and so he tries again. There are many sights you have yet to see in the hotel. Would you like to join me today? But he can do better. I want to show you many beautiful and wondrous things. Would you join me? During breakfast, however, his finely laid plan falls into ruin as soon as the Minotaur takes a sip from his coffee. The air today is chilly, just enough to keep his fur standing on end, and the coffee's vapor spreads warmth across his face, even as a shiver climbs up his spine. Asterion leans back in the chair and speaks before his shame can take rein. Today I want to show you a few credible things. He takes another sip, unaware of what he just said. His ears flick back and forth like a hummingbird's wings. But the Minotaur does not hear you. The all-powerful coffee has enraptured his mind. Asterion finishes his coffee before speaking. I should probably read that. I said, I'm already looking at something incredible. Do you recall how the hotel's translation malfunctions with computers? I might have figured out a solution to it. It'll require us to have little adventure, however. Where are we heading? Not out of the valley, I hope. No, not out of the valley. We were going underground. Excuse me? You'll find out soon enough. Come on. Not even a hint? But Asterion shakes his head, lips sealed in a smile. Are we dressed enough for the occasion, at least? Yeah, I'm gonna say so. Suspender. Oh. He sits back and watches you finish your breakfast. As soon as you lay your cutlery down, he's already moving toward the door. Hey, what's the hurry? I still have to assign tasks to everyone. The Minotaur digs a hoof on the floor and snorts. He waits in anxious impatience. Why are these two bums just bumming around? I doubt we have anything else. Or hold on, I'll try to look. Pending projects. Mythical Gym. Okay. We need contract. Or we can just need tech and material. How much material do we have? Can we check that? Cause I don't know. You know, what if we just play everything like here? Just for a day. How much tech we need? 20. Okay. Everyone's going on the other side. After laying out the day's orders, you and Asterion head downstairs, past the ground door, and to the door of the storage room where you once found the bottle of wine. Before we go, I should check one thing. Follow me. He leads you inside and trots at the end of the hallway. His gaze is aimed at the glass case sitting there. An axe? Still suspended within its jagged purple rock, in the vague shape of an axe head, from which a foul liquid, black and red, badly mixed together, drips down and pools at the bottom. Asterion glares at it and frowns, but relief washes over him when he sees that the padlock is intact and the purple rock is untouched. It's still here. I saw when I came down here to get your wine for you. What is it? A foul relic, defiled and dangerous. Lucian, under no circumstances should you touch it. The burns it will leave will never heal. Shouldn't we keep it in a more secure place then? Someone could just break the glass and reach in. The storage room is only accessible to you and I, so in theory, that shouldn't be necessary. I suppose that makes sense. Still, shouldn't you answer my question what exactly it is? The Minotaur looks down to the floor and scratches his neck. His breathing hitches, followed by ragged snorts. It's an old weapon meant to be used only by very few people. It would injure you, and most who try to wield it. On top of that, it was defiled thousands of years ago. Ever since it was seeped, this foul liquid, I've tried my best to keep everyone safe from it. I was afraid Clement might have tried to do something with it, which is why I had to check. But we can forget about it now. There are much finer things I wish to show you today. Before you can protest or ask another question, the Minotaur comes closer and pressures you to walk back toward the door. The two of you go down a few more flights of stairs before setting off to explore another floor. Ahead of you is a hallway, devoid of light as it stretches farther than you can see. What are we doing here? There's nothing ahead of us? For now, walk with me. I will show you many secrets. Asterion pulls a battery-powered flashlight from his pocket. Together you press on for a minute or two, three. The faint sounds of guests drifting from upstairs fade away, while Asterion's clopping hooves and breathing remain. Every 2 dozen or so steps, you hear his tail swishing and brushing against your side. You proceed, your hearing becomes sharper, as all distractions from the outside world disappear. But the hotel around you, and the rock from which its structure has carved, groans and creaks. The walls sometimes shift and budge, as if the very stone of the compacting around you. Asterion turns his head towards you. It's difficult to see his face in the dark. Are you afraid? The corridor isn't exactly reassuring. Have no fear. This place may be odd, but it holds no danger. Plus, it won't be long now. We are almost there. But if it brings you peace, my king, then hold your warrior's hand. With my horns and stampeding hooves, I'll let no harm befall you. You're a warrior. You are too sweet to hurt someone. Asterion snorts, You become so familiar with his voice that, in only a snort, you can detect a smile plastered on his face. Still, my offer stands. Hold on to me. There's a hint of pride in his voice. He catches a shadow of his chest puffing up. Why would he hold his tail? Wait a minute, I just want to see something. Oh, okay. Okay. His hand is almost as coarse as sandpaper, but as it closes around yours, its softness and warmth take precedence. His grip is firm, but lazy enough that you don't feel restricted at all. His voice rings cheerful, as if he was smiling. There is no reason to fear, my king. This place holds no danger, but still your bravest and most loyal knight will ensure your safety at all costs. Strong and mighty as you are, I have no doubt you can take anything this land can throw at you. But, my good knight, will you hear your king's dearest plea? Asterion stops on his tracks and turns to you. What is it, my lord? You tug his arm, pulling him, and then leaning close to his ear. You promised to call me Lucian. I was having fun. Next time, do it while you keep your promise. Yes, sir. God damn it. That's when you notice a light up ahead, slashing through the darkness when a sharp bend to the right. Asterion steps quicken, and you let go of him. Even if you are behind him, you can feel a smile painting his face. On the wall, you find the source of light, a rack, from which you hang half a dozen strands of cloth tied into knots. From them dangles what you can only describe as a drapery of fire, perhaps a shimmering snake. Asterion takes 2 cloth strands from the wall. He hands you one and keeps the other for himself. Fear not. This flame has no heat. It cannot burn the thing. What exactly is this thing? I thought entities from the labyrinth weren't allowed in here. Think of it more like a natural phenomena. It's like rain or wind, rather than a creature. As for what it is, I can't know for sure. But I like to think even a flame can be lost from its warmth when it gets pulled here. Back in the old times, I used to use them a lot to find my way in the night. Now come with me. He leads you deeper into the hallway. The dust in the air hangs suspended as if held in a please by the strings. The air is still, and yet it has a velvety sensation to it. The whole place smells like an old book, printed on paper on a fine pedigree, yellowed by time and made all the richer for it. The Minotaur strolls up a wall, which a piece of parchment is nailed. He looks back to you. In the early 20th century, we had a handful of archaeologists who enjoyed exploring the old hotel. They delved down here a dozen times per week to study architecture. Master Jean Marais didn't want to open and close the doorway for them every time, and so he instructed me to leave it open for good. Just to be safe, however, I put this contract on the wall. What does it do? It tears itself in two if someone comes here without authorization. The parchment has been torn in half. As I suspect, I'd suggest the kobolds hid down here before Coda and Luke found them. That, or a guest took a stroll through here just before Clement threw his tantrum. Could it have been something from the valley? We aren't far from it. No. Entities are forbidden from passing the hotel's threshold. There's no way. You lean in closer to the parchment nailed to the wall. So, you can do this with a contract. Of course. It's very simple. I've used to do it all the time. By the binding will of the hotel's keeper, I hereby contract is established. Its sole clause as it follows. This contract shall remain intact and stuck to its place forever, more unless revoked. which shall only happen if and when an unauthorized person comes within 10 meters of it. As the keeper, let my will become binding. As the keeper, let my will become binding. There, a self-enforcing contract, just as binding as any other. You never told me you could do that. Asterian's tail swishes behind him, almost in rhythm with his giggle. You didn't ask, and besides, that's one of the reasons why I brought you here. I wanted to show you my secrets. That's not an excuse. You could at least tell me you can do this kind of thing. I am bound to obey your will, my lord. There is no rule commanding me to tell you all that I know, or forbidding me from keeping my secrets. You don't have that. You don't have to do that. You don't have that yet. But what stopped me from creating it right this instant? You wouldn't. You're not that kind of person. He giggles. Furthermore, if you commanded me to tell you everything I know, we'd spend the rest of your lifetime stuck here. Suppose I don't have it in me. I suppose I don't have it in me to abuse my powers. You're a good one. But you better tell me about all the neat things you can do with the contracts. That's something I'm sure I could find use for, too. Oh, I will show you, Lucian. There are so many things things for you to see. Now, ready to explore the old hotel? Assyrian raises his arm, holding his length of fabric, and looks around, ears twitching until his eyes lock onto the hallway like any other. Here, follow me. 4 times, he takes a turn and to the right. One would expect you to return to where you started, but instead, the two of you are faced with a flight of stairs leading deeper into the underground. Here's one little secret. The hotel shifts and folds itself in response to the people within it. If you are ever lost and want to find your way, simply take 4 turns to the right. If you ever do that in a specific place such as this, and if you know what you're looking for, it will lead you to specific special locations. How did this happen? Who made it like this? I did. I designed all of it. That doesn't answer how you did it. Asterian sticks out his tongue. When the masters accepted my oath, they gave me the power to write contracts of my own. I don't have all the permissions you do, but I know how to use, well, what I do have. Although, I fold the building enough to fold a building into on itself. That and much more. Now let's go. There's much I'd like to show you. Asterian takes you deeper. To a floor like something out of a documentary of Edwardian decadence, the marble floors are covered with luxurious burgundy rugs, and from its tall square columns support a molded and bronze-plated ceiling. The entire place is lit by chandeliers dripping with crystalline pendants, medallions, and adornments. They refract the light into shimmering shards, which dance across the stark white walls and heavy damask curtains. To a floor that looks almost every fantasy writer's idea To a floor that looks like every fantasy writer's idea of medieval tavern. Large oaken casks sit behind a long counter, and a massive fireplace lights the stone brick and wood interior with flickering firelight. Off to the side, a narrow staircase leads up to the shadowy gallery, which overlook the squat tables and simple carved chairs below. The deeper you go, the older the architecture becomes. Then Asterian stops. He looks around, checking each wall and hallway. It looks like almost as if we're traveling back in time. That's one way to put it. I've been running this hotel for many centuries. Every once in a while I had no choice but to renovate it from the ground up. But instead of bringing it all down, I choose instead to push the older versions lower, stacking them on top of each other. So in a sense, we're traveling back in time. You say all that as if as if it was a little magic trick you pulled by snapping your fingers. But the Minotaur doesn't hear what you say. He notices a notch on the wall's corner. We aren't even halfway through. Let's take a shortcut. He leads you down a short hallway to a claustrophobic stairwell. You follow him down one of the floor, 2, 3, and then through an archway into the far ancient past. Halfway between a temple and a home, but a purebred labyrinth, regardless carved out of its rock itself. The hallways branch off at odd angles with doorways, staircases, and steps strewn into the left and right. The space makes no sense. 2 doorways a foot apart will lead to different bedrooms, which seem to exist in some space. The same room will be different depending on which door you enter from, and when you turn around the path whence you came may look like nothing it used to. I'm going to read that again. Halfway between a temple and a home, but a purebred labyrinth regardless, carved out of the rock itself. The hallways branch off at odd angles. The doorways and staircases, strewn out left and right. The space makes no sense. 2 doorways a foot apart will lead to different bedrooms, which seem to exist in the same space. The same room will be different depending on which floor you enter from, and when you turn around, the path from whence you came may look nothing like it used to. You hear yours and Asterian's footsteps, but they often come from distant hallways. This is pure chaos. And yet, Asterian giggles and flicks his ears when he catches the puzzlement on your face. He stops once more to situate himself. While you wait, you take in your surroundings. The whole place is cramped, yes, but its closeness is like a private bedroom, bathed in candlelit. Quiet, indeed, like winter's first snowy night, when all the sound is muffled and made smoother than cream. This floor is ancient, but there is no dust or mold. Instead, it all smells like a bookstore, as if the place was made out of aged paper. And Asterian's hooves, do they sound louder here, or is that, back on the surface, he was always walked on softer steps? Here, his back is wider. His gait is as fearless as a knight's, His gait is as fearless as a king's. His eyes read the space as if each and every centimeter was inscribed in his memory. Plenty of room to hide in, alcoves and crevices where none can see you unless they are a foot away, and unending hallways to confuse anyone with ill intentions. The hotel shudders, and never did its groan come so loud and grave before. When you look around, you find all the entrances to the room blocked off by a rock. What do you think, my lord? He calls you lord, but it's his voice that comes out with confidence of royalty. I don't know if this place is impressive, eerie, or soothing, perhaps. All of them are just this, or perhaps all of them at the same time. It was my first attempt at architecture. Back then, my only reference were labyrinths themselves. Alas, some places I find quite cozy. Many others feel anxiety-inducing and entrapping. This place is unorthodox, at least compared to the other hotels I've been to, but it does have a cozy feel to it. And the whole non-Elucidean space thing, can't say I can wrap my head around it, but it is impressive. Oh, that? I had a reason for it. Joseph the Merciful. He may have spared me with the valley, but he did not quite enjoy dealing with me. This way, he didn't have to stumble upon me often. But that's in the past. Much like the whole place, we were in one of the oldest layers of the hotel after all. It's been centuries since I last visited. I'm sorry if this alienates you somehow, but it feels nostalgic to me. Nostalgic? Were things good back then? Not nearly as good as they were with you. Still, some memories I do cherish. Hearing the hymns from Joseph's church, though. I still was not allowed in while making bread in that hall down there. That was about 2,000 years ago. Most of the guests were only Christians. They often asked me if I was an agent of Moloch. I knew not what Moloch even was until they told me. It was almost amusing to be thought so fearsome, but more so, I was proud that even they eventually saw nothing to fear and could find rest in the halls I attended. But make no mistake, as much as I may hold these memories dear, I prefer being with you. Oh? Are you implying that I'm the best master yet? I'm sorry, I don't recall saying that. You have quite the competition. Have I ever told you about, let's see, Socrates of Byzantium? He used the hotel's powers to stop a crusade, and then taught a whole kingdom how to read. Or how about Charles of India? Did I mention him? He single-handedly kept the conflict of Hyderabad from escalating into an all-out war between the French and the British. And how I could forget Intellectum, the wise, who preserved a whole 108 displaced peoples until they could return to their ancestral homelands. Now you're making things up. There's no way he had someone called Intellectum, the wise. How dare you question the legacy of an Intellectum, the marvelous? At this rate, you won't even stand up to Plato or Carl. You aren't even saying the names anymore. This is all made up. My king and lord, you'd wound me with such words. I have never lied to you, not in 100 years. But if you doubt me so, I suppose I have no choice. Hereby, I, Asterion, do solemnly swear to tell Master Lucen the full truth of this matter. Under one condition. What is it? The door's open again. Catch me? He bolts. The last thing you can see from him is his tails whipping about. Get your bearings and give him chase, good master. You look down the hallway and see us slowing down to make a sharp turn to the left. When he catches you with a side-leads glance, he picks up pace and disappears. When you turn the corner yourself, he's nowhere to be seen. But there's only one path forward. You don't need a string to track him. The echoing clop of his hooves is enough. Despite his weight, they sound almost delicate next time you stomp in near him. You're stomping after him. You may get a little lost, but these old passages are growing familiar, and at times the steering seems to slow to an echoing trot. You follow his song-like footsteps. The thrill of the hunt, heart pounding in your chest as legs and arms work and pump, pushing you closer and closer to grasping him. After half a dozen turns and twists, you return to a starting point, and you notice that Asterian's repeating the same track. Your next turns are faster, fast enough that you can catch up to Asterian midway through the next circuit. He hears your footsteps, looks behind, your eyes lock, glance is stolen, and his trot becomes leisurely a gallop. He goads you, good master. Show now all your power and might, and may your winged feet carry you conquest. The Minotaur is only a dozen steps ahead. You reach out with your hand, anticipating his thinly furred and firmly muscled sides, but he speeds up again. Faster you go. Then he returns to the trot after a sharp turn, and now he's only 10 steps ahead. Your hands take on life of their own, and so does the back of the Minotaur's neck. Its fur stands on end. His whole back heats up with anticipation of your touch. The warmth of your hands on his spine, sides, face, back of his head, cupping his ears, going down his neck, grasping his shoulders, to press against your... A gentle touch, warm digits brushing through his fur, eyes closing in sync, skin against skin radiating a satisfaction that takes root in one's bones. All these ghostly sensations and more racked his body. But as for words, his mind is poor. He thinks only that he has to gallop, must win, should loudly trot, must look behind, should slow down, must come together, with you he has to. What was the goal of this exercise all along? Asterion becomes aware of his own absent-mindedness and laughs along with you. Words return to him in a flash. He's proud to himself for being worthy of such a pursuit, of being esteemed, wanted, desired. You settle into your rhythm, the gap between you closing, just 6 steps behind him. You reach out, his trotting winds down, your steps match. You graze his right hand on the downswing. He gives you a sideways glance on the next swing of his arm. It reaches further back towards you. You grab it. The coarse palm is so strong and so soft, and clumsily and lovingly. You lean back, letting your weight slow him down, while he transitions his trot into a lazy swing walk. He laughs, and so do you, as your chest clashes together with his spine. There. Was that enough exercise? He turns and envelops you in an embrace. His snout nuzzles your shoulder, and your face is pushed into the crook of his neck. How well it all fits. Your hands on his sides and tracing his back while his arms squeeze you closer, as if the two could become one. His hooves, legs, and tail, for centuries untamable, capricious creatures, melt into graceful things as wet snout snuffles into your shirt. The Minotaur lets out a grunt, redeeming, as though a lock had come undone in his throat. You are the best master, the greatest master, and that is the truth. In the cramped hallway, his scent becomes clear, almost overpowering. He smells like a sea late in the afternoon, when the waves crash on the rocks and the blow droplets of salt water. You breathe in deeper, and another layer makes itself apparent. The scent of fur and fabric warmed by sunlight. Strongest of all is a distinct smell of fresh sweat. Like men at work building a home by the sea as the sun pelts their backs. This is Asterion's scent: salt, sunlight, and hard work. But a hug cannot last forever. The both of you unclasp bit by bit, muscle by muscle, as if each movement had a perfect order. And all this time, his eyes have been closed. But now he opens their grace for you. He looks up to the corridor behind you. We're almost there. If memory serves, we, in truth, passed our destination on the last corridor. Shall we? Sure. Side by side, arms touching, you walk. But what about the other masters? Socrates of Byzantium, Carlos of India, Intellectium the Wise. Did they really exist? No, I made them up. Even Intellectium? Especially him. Impossible. You're meant to be a well-behaved hotel co-owner. You'd never lie to your equal partner? Oh, my king, my emperor of mine. I keep secrets. I play tricks. Could you ever forgive me for it? I might have it in my heart to forgive you. Yes, on one condition. Yes, sire. I shall stop calling you my lord. Immediately, monarch of mine. Oh, you wound me every time you break your promise. I'll perish and die. Cease to be if you continue it. Sadly, this Minotaur is a trickster. You should know by now I'm not without my secrets. Is it because of the contracts? Yes, and more. Your arm, for instance. Remember that night when you and I went stargazing with Coda and Luke? I wasn't expecting you to accept my proposal about the armband. I couldn't imagine a master doing so. The idea was preposterous. It must sound silly, but I am expecting you to reject it, and Well, never mind. That's what I meant when I said I play tricks, and I apologize for that. But before you say anything, I didn't bring you down here to make you feel sorry for me. Asterion stops halfway down the corridor. You can't see anything out of the ordinary until you look closer at the wall and notice its texture is so ever slightly different. There is something written upon it. By the Keeper's will, may this contract stand furthermore, forevermore, impenetrable, protecting what lies beyond. This contract can only be revoked temporarily, if and only for as long as the Master or the Keeper touch it. Another secret for you. Contracts are physically indestructible unless revoked, which makes them fine material for building. Asterion touches the wall. It shudders and becomes flexible as a curtain. For 1,000 years, I've never brought a master here, or anyone else for that matter. This place, this floor and all its secrets, it's my special place. But what lies beyond is more so, and I want to share it with you. Darkness settles around you. This time, the Minotaur is the one to grab your hand. You count a dozen steps before the texture beneath your feet changes. Silkier than silk, gentler than sleep. Then a light ahead, and a million below. Hello everyone, welcome back. This will be done differently next time I do this. So far, but this time, you know what? Never mind. Restart that. Welcome back. You've just listened to, whatever it is. You came back, or finished the video, or listened to the story. Hello, and welcome. Or, hi. I don't know how to do this, getting awkward again. But, yeah. We hung out with Asterion in the more deeper parts of the labyrinth. We saw the, what's it called? The first few areas of the labyrinth, like the area of stone. I don't know how to explain it. It was like, it is much like how I thought a labyrinth would be like. You know, I find it so hard when I go back and do this to have thoughts about it instead of like thoughts right then and there. But yeah, my God. But yeah, you know, I have a question. Would you guys rather? Sorry about all this stuff that's going on the mic right now. My cat. I'm sorry, I don't even have a cat. It's my lizard. He's on the desk, crawling around. But would you guys rather have me listen to the videos? Well, not listen. Would you guys rather hear my thoughts as I go through the videos, or have it at the end? Put it in the comments down below, because either or is fine with me. It doesn't matter. Like, I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter with me. It's just that, like, at the end, it'll be a bit harder. But it'll be a practice, because I'll probably just write down my thoughts as the video goes on, and just cut out those parts that I pause. But, you know, I have nothing more else to say. I'm gonna get back to editing more videos. I'm very sorry. I'm gonna say sorry for the huge pause. I know I promised 2 or 3 videos a week. Yeah. That may be postponed to when, after my semester's done. I've never done this before. This is my first, actually, no, my first, like, I feel, college is weird, guys. Yeah. The first time I did this, it was a bit easier since I had only online classes and stuff. You can just cheat. But, okay, but I didn't cheat technically. The teacher's really nice. They just said, if you attend class, you'll basically get a grade, so it doesn't matter. And I actually went to the classes, but I put effort in. That's all you have to do. You know, y'all don't need to hear that. maybe write your thoughts down in the comments on what do you think will happen to Asterion. And I'm forgetting his name. It's been a while since all the videos are done. I'm just editing them out. It's crazy because I go to a video and then the next video it'll have like 100 markers of like things I need to edit, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to edit this. That's why I postponed this for so long, because I was like, I need to study for this a midterm I have going on soon. So, and then it turned out the midterm's getting to Monday. You guys may not even see this video until like next weekish, maybe, or the day of my midterm. We're only halfway through, guys. Only halfway. It feels like it's been 2 months. Alright, but yeah, I'm rambling. I like to talk. And I wish I could either do something in the future where I can like maybe play a game or something like that, but that'll probably be something for when the summer is going on, when I know what I'm doing with the channel. I don't know. I thought about doing video essays or gaming. But yeah, I'm not sure how like I don't even have subscribers to begin with, but like I don't know if that would like make it all weird with everything that goes on with my channel. Like all this stuff in one area. Wow. Okay, but yeah, I'm rambling again. Have a good night, guys, or a good day, whatever you thought, or wherever it is at your place. Have a wonderful weekend, night, morning. Bye-bye.